Sometimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they're also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
Story. Once upon a time, there was a very young, agile, vivacious, spunky, unconventional Pekin. You have all come to know and love as Brother Dirili, Shewiri, Dewiri, and all of the above. But you see, getting to this very point in time has been a story of hurdles. I have crossed so many hurdles. I've broken down ceilings. I've crashed barriers. I've scaled mountains, figuratively speaking. Because you know what? For every single door that was shut on my face, you know what? I found another door. For every time I was put in a box, I jumped right out of that box. I am still in an industry where I have to constantly prove myself. Not the fact that I have to prove myself to myself, but I have to prove myself every time how resilient I can be and how much of an identity and strong force that I must be. So you know what? This is my celebrity story. My story is like $1 million question rolled into one.
My story for today, which hopefully will inspire you, is that when I was 17, my mom died. And at the time, my mom was the only one that had been encouraging me as far as acting was concerned. My dad was not for it at all. And on her deathbed, she told my father, let this girl do what she wants to do. Unfortunately, he was still against it. And I went to theater school, much to his disdain. But the thing is, even though I went through a lot of stuff because he refused to sponsor me because I was doing what he didn't want me to do, I endeavored, I worked, I had many jobs. I used to do all kinds of stuff. I used to braid hair. There's a lot of stuff I do people don't know about just to make ends meet. Some days it would be between transport and food and all kinds of things. But I endeavored, I worked hard, I stuck to what I wanted to do, and finally I am here. And as far as I'm concerned, I've only just begun. But I am here, and I'm going to keep on pushing on until that Oscar sits on top of my table. So, no matter what it is that you want to do, so far it's a good thing. Don't let anyone discourage you. There will always be a way around it if you just put your head down and put in the work.
What's up, everybody? They call me Road Boy. Now, let me share a brief and a small story for you guys, okay? I used to be a young boy who never had this experience of having parents coming to pick you in school or taking you to school. Those kind of things that if you woke up in the morning as early as 6, you dress up everything by 6:30, it will take you like 1 hour, 20 minutes to get to my school. I never had that experience of waiting for a driver to come and pick me in school. That kind of lifestyle whereby even your parents will prepare breakfast for you or lunch for you to take in school. It was all about survivors, okay? But today, I want to tell you guys something. Maybe my parents took it that way for me because they never had, but I promised myself when I was young, if I ever made money, my children are not going to go through that. I'll provide everything for my kids, transportation, security, whatever, okay? So let me tell you, so whatever you're going through in life today, make sure you keep your head up because whatever you're experiencing, it will give you that power, that strength, not to allow your kids to go through that. Road Boy says so. Bless her.
Before Jennifer's Diary, I would go for, to be honest, I did not think I was going to be an actor. I just thought I was going to sing. How I got into acting, one particular day, I went to church for rehearsals, choir rehearsal, and then I got there early. My friend called that she had written my name in some audition. I was like, audition, ads free, me? I know they do. So she was like, come through, they're waiting. So because rehearsals had not started and the place wasn't so far from where I was, so I was like, okay, I'll just go and see what's up. Thereafter, I started going for auditions. Some people will say really nasty stuff to you. Instead of them to just say, no, go. They will yab you. They will make you not believe in yourself. You just feel like giving up. So I just chilled. And then one particular time, I got a BC, 1,000 Days of Blackberry. My friend sent me an audition BC. It was for Jennifer's Diary. So I said, guy, I know they go. All these things, they don't already get people where they want to put there. So I'm not going to go. So I was like, go, 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 go. My mom told me to go. My dad told me to go, the amazing man, and my friend. So I didn't even know what to wear. So I was discouraged, like, nah, I'm not going to go. But my friend, thankfully, she works for Genevieve at the time. By the way, I love, 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 love. I cannot explain the love I have for Genevieve. The place was crowded and I don't like crowd. So I went to hide in the restroom as always. That's what I always do. So I was there till like 8 p.m. For real. I called my mom. Mom, I'm leaving. She said, no, too bad it's audition. So I stayed there. 9 p.m. I auditioned. In my head, I was like, there's no way they wouldn't have found people they need. A couple of weeks after, they called me for the second audition. We did the third audition. We did the final reading. We're quite a number of people reading for Toyosi. At the end of the day, as God would have it, I got the role for Jennifer's Diary to play Toyosi. I did not have any idea that the character was going to have so much continuity. I don't even know. I didn't know that I was going to be in several seasons. So, yeah, and that's how I found myself in Jennifer's Diary series.
Hello and welcome to Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. I am Fumi Noajefe. Today, we'll be focusing on how people on the continent are taking care of their environment. In Kenya, someone initiated the plan of Trash for Cash.
Every Monday, Jeffrey Baluzzi, age 26, combs the beach as part of a cleanup crew from the Watamu Marine Association. Each time, they pick up about 4 big sacks of plastic waste. They're paid the equivalent of €4 a day. That means they earn €16 a month. That's not very much, but they're all happy to do this work. Jeffrey has been part of the crew since its inception.
My main intention was just to change the environment itself, because since the environment was different here, there was a lot of taka, and this was dangerous even to the sea creatures. So that's what brought me here, in fact.
They bring the trash to a recycling center run by the organization, not far from the beach. Shakushi Lewa helps sort the trash. He lives on the grounds of the recycling center. They separate hard and soft plastic. Part of it is given to local artists and women's associations which make flip-flop sandals or window screens to stop insects from getting into houses. The hard plastic is the organization's cash cow. It brings in the equivalent of €7,000 a year. The recycling center has acquired a new shredder. Soon it will be able to handle plastic not just from all of Watamu, but from another nearby community. Jeffrey thinks they'll be able to shred about 20,000 kilos of hard plastic, more than double their present capacity.
So I can say this project has been so beneficial on me and the project itself, because up to date, the taka we used to hide on the beach are now reduced. On the village, the same.
Thanks to the initiative, around 25 people in Watamu are earning steady money. Shikushu was unemployed for a long time until the project hired him. He lives for free on the grounds of the recycling center. He mixes old paper, water, and wood chips to make briquettes for burning. The business idea earns him the equivalent of €100 a month from garbage.
When
the people from the community collect those plastics and bring them here, they get money for the plastic. Jeffrey says the biggest challenge is to make clear to the community that recycling plastic is much more than just a short-term money-making project.
The challenge we do have is that, because people say, okay, I can join with you working there, but what are you going to give me? You know? So you have to pay him. Instead of volunteering, they don't volunteer. And they do have to volunteer, because this This is their country. The environment belongs to them too.
The Watamu environmental activists want to do more to educate the community. Jeffrey wants to make people understand that recycling garbage is meaningful. It looks like he's already come a long way.
If you ask me, I think they should legislate that all bottling companies should recycle all their PET bottles. Recycling could create a revolution. Still in Kenya, a former banker recycles plastics and create new products which will reduce the cutting of trees and in the end, save the forest.
Nicholas Wambua is busy marking the borders of his farm outside Nairobi. Usually farmers here use wooden posts for their fences, but Nicholas has bought a new product.
Compared to the normal poles, the lifespan of this one is longer than the normal poles, so I prefer this one. It is reducing the destruction of forest, because now you find we are lessening the cutting of the trees in our country. So I am for it, because our ecosystem is being controlled.
On the outskirts of Nairobi, the posts are produced by a new, innovative company. EcoPost is the brainchild of Lorna Ruto, a former banker. She came up with an ingenious way of getting rid of the city's plastic waste by making eco-friendly posts from recycled plastic.
All this plastic waste has been collected from various dump sites, some streets, and even homes, people's homes. So we bring them here. This is the first step. They're flooded from the truck. Then we store them until we get a good quantity. From there, we're able to take them into processing.
Every month, EcoPost gives 40 to 50 tons of plastic waste new life as building material. In its first year of operation, it produced more than 5,000 posts, removing hundreds of tons of plastic waste from the environment.
We crush the sawdust and we mix it with the plastic, and we make very good aesthetic and quality posts that can be used even for now building. And it's an alternative to timber, so by so doing we're able to save a lot of trees, and we hope to save the 2% forest cover that is remaining in Kenya.
Kenya has a massive problem with deforestation. Much of the wood is used as building material. EcoPost offers not only an alternative, it also removes plastic waste, which helps limit toxic pollution. Something Karanya Nyoroche strongly endorses.
The society is part of the problem. A problem in the sense that they are the source of that waste, and they should actually be responsible on how to dispose of it. If there is a market, and that market generates 2-3 tons every day of waste plastic, then the market should have regulatory guidelines on how to recycle whatever they generate. Then we'll end up with less plastic strewn on the streets or in the landfills.
Every year, Kenya's plastic waste grows almost tenfold. Lorna Ruto has shown that it's also a resource which can generate huge profits. EcoPost has already created almost 40 full-time positions and hundreds of casual jobs.
So it is not only in Kenya that people are making money from waste. In Gabon, one man is separating and recycling waste.
They have become an established team. Several times a week, men from Global Services come over to the market in Labarene, Gabon, and sort the enormous amount of waste. Organic waste goes into the pink bags and plastic in the blue. This is all done under the watchful eye of CEO Firmin Makaya. Unfortunately, the people here are used to just throwing their garbage on the street. Many simply don't understand why they should think about waste separation and recycling. That's why we have to explain to them the importance of this over and over again. Not only to the residents, but also to the city administration. Labarene may be small, but for years it's had a big waste problem. The city waste management exists only on paper. Businessman Makaya took action. The 37-year-old founded his own private waste collection company, rented a small office, and established a team of 8 strong men. Now they are the stars of Labarene. It's very nice to see what they're doing here. A clean environment helps everybody. We used to really have too much garbage here, but since the people of Global Services started their operations, you can see a difference. These 2 tricycles transport the garbage daily to the depository on the outskirts of Lambarene. The company purchased them with its initial capital, which it won in a startup competition. This is the most unpleasant part of the work for the men of Global Services. Here is where the waste is burned. This, of course, is not good. It's not good for the health of the people who work here. And it's also not good for the environment that we actually want to protect. Now the businessman is working together with his wife on the next step of his garbage project. They want to construct a recycling plant in the jungle of Labarene. The plastic waste will be mixed with sand to create a cement-like brick. The mass is well suited for road construction. And the land has already been purchased and cleared. What's missing now is only money. Of course, it's all a difficult and lengthy process. To be honest, I have sometimes thought of giving up. But today, I'm more convinced than ever that we'll succeed. Makaya has already convinced a producer about his recycling idea, who's supplying Makaya with sand at a special price.
A 16-year-old in Tanzania holds a weekly show focused on the environment.
She's determined, ambitious, and has come a long way. Valentine Waku is a scientist and a staff member at the International Centre for Tropical Agriculture, or CIAT, in Nairobi. For now, the 29-year-old is researching the quinoa plant. The nutritious crop from South America could help in solving Africa's nutrition problem. For this, she analyses seed and soil samples from 5 countries in East and West Africa.
The seed and soil will be analyzed so that we can see the relation between the nutrients in the soil and the yield we're getting from the seeds.
In the first year of her long-term project, Valentine Waku already discovered 3 suitable kinds. Her results are soon going to be implemented by the farmers.
Especially this being a new crop, we want to tell them that you can have a good yield with this and this variety. So we will propose that these are the varieties that are doing well in Africa.
From the lab to the fields. The Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organisation works hand in hand with the researchers. The farmers from Machakos have been taking part for 1 year. They get tips on planting and harvesting a particular type of bean. Because of the training we got, the work is now reduced for us. Now we always uproot the weeds and then use them for mulching.
We are proud because we're getting good harvests. It's not like before, because we were taught how to plant, and together with my group, we're applying what we learned.
The farmers get to put the surplus from their harvest on the market or sell to processing companies. This is also a result of the project.
Our role, in short, has been select which varieties can go for industrial processing, the pre-cooked, train the stakeholders, including the farmers, on how to grow them and to aggregate them.
For the scientists at CIAT, sustainability is important. Director Robin Burukara knows this as well. The institute now has the plasma of all the bean germs known across the world.
We have the germplasm, there's the research we can do, but we work very closely together with our national research systems and then work closely together with agents which can support dissemination so that the farmers get the product.
The bean project has been ongoing for 1 year and is soon coming to an end. Valentine Waku is happy about its success. She also researched the beans. Now with quinoa, the goal remains the same.
This food security crisis in Africa is ongoing song. So with especially what I'm involved in the quinoa, if it's successful and we see that it can do well in Africa, it will really improve the livelihoods of the downtrodden people.
Valentine Waku's quinoa project has been planned for 5 years. The scientist wishes that the farmers would quickly profit from her results and that quinoa would successfully be planted in Africa.
Imagine if we could educate young Africans very early about recycling waste and taking care of the environment, we would have a cleaner continent. But trust me, it's not too late to act. We'll take a break and then we'll be right back. Welcome back. So in our next story, we are taught not to take the fresh air we breathe for granted.
These volunteers are about to learn a lot about the benefits of fresh air. Brice Delagneau is the activist behind the tree planting campaign. The meeting place is no coincidence. It's the epicenter of exhaust emissions in this city of nearly 5 million. We're amazed that many more people came to participate in the reforestation campaign than we expected. Banco Forest is just outside the Ivorian commercial capital, Abidjan. It's clearly visible from the highway, but many urban residents have never been here before. Brice studied environmental management in Abidjan, then founded his own organization. With this campaign, he wants Abidjan residents to understand that Banco Forest is the city's source of oxygen. This is a large metropolis. There are so many cars. The ones you see here in the city are usually bad for the environment. They're 10, 15, or even 20 years old. Sometimes even older than that. Without Banco Forest, the air in Abidjan would probably be much worse. Recent studies show that people already breathe in 3,000 tons of carbon dioxide here every day. With its abundant vegetation and rare tree species, the forest exudes a kind of magic. Part of it remains untouched and has been designated a national park. But many trees are being cut down outside the protected area. In 2009, this entire space was a rainforest. Today, it's full of residential buildings and factories. There's only one thing to do to save part of the cleared area: plant more trees. Participants plant various kinds of trees, including makore, nyangon, and tiama. These volunteers say the air is clean and refreshing, and healthy. The funds for this campaign come from an annual environmental conference. More than 70 new trees have been planted just today. To assess the impact of his efforts, Brice returns to the rainforest. Looking at this natural beauty, I would like every Ivorian to get involved and preserve it and stop cutting down trees. They should be protected. The same goes for the whole environment. Everyone should come to this space so they can learn how to love nature. Brice Delagneau has been able to inspire more than 130 volunteers with his initiative. He's also taken his campaign to neighboring Burkina Faso and Ghana.
If we knew how valuable trees are to the air we breathe, I doubt we'll cut down a single tree. So from planting trees, we go to the eco-warriors protecting their land.
In the remote Yaida Valley, the Hadza people have lived like this for 10,000 years. They still depend on the forest for hunting meat and gathering fruits, and even whistling to birds, which lead them to honey. But today, their land is under threat, and to protect it, they're turning to modern technology.
We hate it. We don't like to see the trees cut down like this.
Ezekiel Filippo is one of the Hadza's forest guards who patrol the area looking for signs of damage. His team uses GPS satellite tracking to collect evidence of the destruction.
We use tools to record where we have been on patrol, and we take pictures. If we come across an area where someone has destroyed trees, we take a picture on the GPS device and it records the location.
The problem is the competition for this land. Other tribes need space for farming and cattle grazing, and in places that means the natural habitat is completely destroyed.
You can see the state of it. It is devastating. The way they are farming this land. Now where are the Hadza people going to live?
When I was a child, all of this was thick forest. There were lots of animals, and this area was especially good for collecting honey. It hurts my soul to see it now.
To stop the destruction, it is now illegal to cut down trees on Hadza land. And where the patrols find damage, they can arrest or report the offenders, who will face a fine.
When it happened that there is someone establishing maybe settlement or a piece of farm or a boma, that is an illegal issue. So the Walinzi Wajadi or village game scout, using GPS picture, to prepare the report that will be sent to the village governments to take a legal step against this issue, because it is not allowed.
The project is funded by the Global Carbon Credit Scheme, where businesses offset their emissions by contributing money to projects that reduce carbon. The villages are given payments twice a year of thousands of dollars. And the patrols also work with other tribes in the area to voice their concerns about the environment. There are now just under 1,000 Hadza people left in this area, thought to be among the last hunter-gatherers in the world.
This, everything you can see below me here, is the land of the Hadza people. This is where we live. This is where we get our meat and our honey. This is what we call home. I feel very happy when I see how we have looked after this beautiful land. Before, when I saw the land being destroyed, I hated it. But now that I see it being protected, I feel very happy.
Thank you for watching Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. See you next week. I am Femi Unwajefe.
Sometimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they're also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
Before I started doing music, I always knew it was something I wanted to do, but I think that it's important for people to know that being unsure of yourself, your skill, your ability, your strength is something that all artists go through. And I struggled for a time with live performances because I'm a little bit shy, and I really struggled even when I was in any kind of education, when I had to get on stage, whether I was in music school or I had to give a speech in public, it would just completely cripple me. And so I went through quite a few years of what I would call like hardcore street training, and that would involve busking. So busking is when you just pick a street corner, when I lived in London, and just start singing to people. And it's difficult, it's harder than it looks because people are walking past you. Think about it, your whole life, your friends and family has, you have a beautiful voice. Every time you open your mouth, someone's like, yay! But when you're busking on a street corner, people are walking by, they don't really care, they don't really pay attention. But that really helped me to build my confidence and to face music. Even though you're performing for people, it's important to know they're also performing for yourself. So I got to a point where I was like, you know what, as long as I sing my absolute best and give it my all, if people are watching or not, I'm still aware of the value of what I'm bringing. So that's what I would say. You must really grow your inner strength and your inner belief in yourself and what you're able to give. Don't give up, just keep going. And in time, someone will notice.
Before I finally got this fame, I used to go for countless auditions. I've been beaten by the rain, I've had my money stolen, I've walked long distances just to go for auditions, and at the end of the day it paid off. Some of those auditions I went for, I never got called back, but look at me now, I'm grateful to God. It's been an amazing journey. It was a good time. So yeah, that is my celebrity story.
Before Brother Shaggy gained recognition, I've gone through a lot. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. When my father died, I had to leave Ogun State to Lagos to start a new life with my mom. Then I started working as an actor to make money while I was in school. I was in Unilag. I started playing drums, I started dancing, I started singing just to make money to finish school. Then when I got out of school, I was looking for, what to do because I know I'm talented. People say I'm talented, but I just want to, make a difference. I started making skits. So I had different characters before Brother Shaggy. I had Akoni Badon, I had Professor Dele, I had Inspector Perry. But I just wanted to do something different, something people haven't done before. So I started this Agbero character. When I started it, my first skit was all about Jesus. I was asked in my first skit that if Jesus should come to Mushin, what will I do? So that was how the skits, got recognized everywhere. And I thank God for today that I've been able to change my story, change my family's story.
At the beginning stages of my career, living in Atlanta, just being someone that just loved the art of music, wanted to write songs for people. I remember going to different rooms and meeting different producers and not actually given a chance to go into actual studio rooms. I would hang out in like the couch living areas outside, right? Hoping that somebody notices me, hoping that I can get someone's attention to play them something I've recorded in the past, to get a chance to get in the room. This happened like many years, but one thing for me was I never stopped. I remember an incident, a guy named Kevin Shine in Atlanta, just saw me sitting on the couch. He was like, yo bro, what do you do? I'm a singer, a songwriter. He's like, let me hear what you do, right? I played him what I had at the moment. This was after many months of going back and forth to the same studio. This was a place where all the big stars come. Playing him one of the songs I had, it was pretty decent, it was okay. But he heard something in me that made him introduce me to somebody else, right? I met another amazing producer that did a lot of big records for Case. This guy, his name is Kenneth Smooth. He produced Touch Me, Tease Me by Case, old record. A lot of R. Kelly records back in the days, veteran producer. From that I met somebody else, I met someone else, right? I think this life is a journey. You can't doubt yourself at the beginning stages. Nobody sees your vision, right, except you.
This was probably 2008, and I had the opportunity to work with one of the biggest artists at that time. I'm not going to mention names for obvious reasons. So we made a song on his album, and I thought, this was going to be a great look for me. And I mean, I officially started producing 2007, so this was a year after, and he was the second biggest artist I was working with at that time, so it was like a big deal for me. And we made a song. The song was a vibe. You know, I was looking forward, you know, to the album and everything. And album came out, songs on the album. Then I was excited, you know, got the CD, went home, played the song, and the song was reproduced by a different producer. I was so heartbroken because I've been telling all my friends that, oh, I produced this song on the album, I produced this song on the project, and people were already congratulating me. Then I heard it was a different beat by another popular producer, like that was obviously like way popular than I was at that time. So, I mean, I was obviously heartbroken, and a friend of mine asked this artist why he did that. And in his words, he said, "Share me to Kojaye," which means like my work has passed that level that I was probably like, you know, too not relevant enough, you know, to work with at that point. Anyway, today I'm SARS, and it's not here today. So keep moving, believe in yourself, you'll get there.
A full-on crisis brews in the River State chapter of the All Progressive Congress APC as warring factions take steps to take hold of power. And a whopping 4.4 billion naira of public money budgeted for the National Assembly is allegedly missing, and Serap wants to know where it is. Well, this is Plus Politics, and I am Mary Ann Okon. In contravention of the decision of a faction of the All Progressive Congress APC in the River State to shun the forthcoming council polls in the state, another bloc of the party led by Senator Magnus Abe has conducted primary elections to select candidates for the exercise. Both River State APC factions have been working at cross purposes following the crisis of confidence in the 2015 governorship ticket of the party. Joining us to discuss this is APC spokesperson Ogbonna Nwuke and acting chairman APC River State, Golden Ben Choma. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the show.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
All right, gentlemen, before we start this conversation, because my first question is going to be for both of you and you'll take turns to answer, let's go to an interview I had in 2019 with former Senator Magnus Abe as he laid a foundation as to what caused the crack in the APC in River State. And when we come back, we'll have this conversation.
One very painful experience we had was after the congresses when we met at the home of the Minister of Petroleum in the South-South Caucus. And everybody at the meeting agreed that what happened in River State was wrong. But they said that nobody could call Amaechi to order except the president because he's DG to the president. And, you know, when that happens, party members would definitely feel aggrieved. Before the primaries, we had congresses. And these issues were already on ground before the congresses. And every effort that was made to try to resolve them at that time proved abortive for the same reason that you know, the leadership was not ready to accept any compromise, except either we leave the party or Senator Abe should not participate, people should not say they're running for office, except as determined by him. And a lot of us felt that the reason we left the PDP in the first place was so that we could do things differently. And so having put our lives on the line to build this new party that is based on the ideology of change and freedom, we felt that the only place in Nigeria where we could exercise that freedom should be in the APC.
So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Golden Chama. What exactly is going on in the APC in River State? Who is the leader of the APC in River State?
Yes, Mary, I want to say that I wholeheartedly adopt the views as contained in the video you just showed, which the senator had eloquently and concisely stated it. First and foremost, the APC in River State, under the leadership of Honorable Aguma, where I am the deputy, but presently the acting chairman, is moving on. We are sailing, and nobody can stop a sailing ship. We are sailing because we need to bring the party back to its core values. The party was created or formed to contest political power, and that is what we want to do. We are going to contest the local government elections as being stated by the River State Electoral Commission. We are ready and will contest the elections.
Okay, I'm bringing this to you now, Mr. Nwuke. Do you agree with this? And no, you've not, Mr. Chama didn't really answer my question. Who's the leader of the APC in River State, and what exactly is going on for there to be two factions in the state?
I think that there is an attempt to create factions in River State. And I can say to you that the National Secretariat of our great party dissolved structures and set up caretaker committees. Those caretaker committees have been sworn in. I'm not aware that Honorable Golden Chama was sworn in by the party.
But you haven't answered my question as to who's leading the party.
As to what?
Who's leading the party in your state, as there are two factions? Who is
Isaac Albert Obobula is the caretaker committee chairman of the party, duly approved by the National Secretariat of our great party, and also approved by a court decision, a high court, appeal court decision, which set aside the Aguma's claim to being chairman.
Okay, on January 1 or January 14th of this year, the APC National Secretary, Mr. John Akpan Odoidege, had asked members of the APC in the state to respect the decision of its caretaker committee, which they say is led by Isaac Ogbobola, and not participate in the council election. So I'm coming back to you, Mr. Golden Chama. But your faction is saying that they must participate in this election so that the APC's voice and votes can count. Why are you going against the national publicity or the national secretary of your party if you are saying the party in the state is sailing?
Yes, Mary, please, I hope we use the opportunity to answer all the questions. You are asking the questions when my friend has raised some issues I want to clarify. First and foremost, the River State High Court, sometime last year, did give a judgment. And in that judgment, it spelled out what should be done and who was chairman. That same judgment was obeyed by my colleague in your studio, who is also participating. The judgment did say that Igor Aguma should convoke a meeting where he should act as chairman, where he did act, and the ESCO was constituted. Thereafter, 48 hours after, my friend Obona Nwuke and his cohort formed a parallel ESCO led by Dr. Sekonte, where Obona Nwuke was elected or nominated as the public PRO. I, Golden Ngozi Chioma, went to court, asking the court to stop the interlopers. And the court, in its wisdom, did agree with me that there were Middleton interlopers And to be fair to you, Mary, they all agreed and disbanded their ESCO. But upon doing that, they felt that they had lost. They hurriedly went back to look for Bobola, only a dead horse, to resurrect the dead horse, to come to challenge the valid ESCO. And let me put it to you, Mary. It's unfortunate that people who are high up do not want the masses to continue to exist in a party that is progressive. We are only saying that the court judgment was given by a valid court in Nigeria. We are not asking or quarreling with anybody. When the national went about consecrating caretaker committee members, they did say all existing ESCOs in every state should continue in a caretaker mode. Why would our own state be different? No reason.
Let me come
no
to
reason.
let me go to Mr. Nwuke, and then I'll come back to address this issue. Mr. Nwuke, Akpano Doidere in his statement had mentioned that the reason why he's asking the APC in River State not to be or participate in the elections was a good reason. Did he by any means explain what that good reason was, and why the people in APC in River State are not allowed to be part of a local government election that is obviously going to be beneficial to all and sundry?
All right, thank you, Mary. The point must be made here. The point must be made here. Of course, APC had said outrightly that it will not participate in an election. And the reason, and I'm sure Golden Choma will agree, that there are chairmen and councillors of the APC who were elected before Governor Wike came to power in 2015 and who were removed clearly in contradiction of the Supreme Court order, which says that elected councils cannot be removed by governments. And so I wonder how rationally anyone who understands the background of what is before us can say at this point in time that running an election organized by the RISEC in Rivers State is the best option. Now, the National Secretariat of Agri Party understands this good reason that the APC has provided. We cannot run an election at a time when members of the party are busy trying to reclaim their rights, their mandate. It will be completely out of place. And it tells you how selfish our brothers on the other side have become. Because the rights of people, the rule of law, even when you talk about, I don't know how he can claim that after he had victory or they had victory in court, the law allows people to enter an appeal, and the APC justifiably entered an appeal, which has been ruled upon by a court of appeal in this country.
Well,
the problem we have.
Let's talk about that.
Just one moment, and I'll be done.
Okay.
The problem we have is that these people accept rulings in their favor, but they refuse, under the rule of law, to accept the rulings.
Another local government election.
Yeah, Mary, the government is not a contravention of any law. That they want to do elections, they can go ahead to do elections.
So are you in agreement with the PDP? I'm sorry, Mr. Choma. Are you in agreement with Governor Wike and the PDP for sacking those local government chairmen who are under your party? And you're saying that they don't have a right to continue to push or pursue this?
In LMA local government, the agenda we have is to seek political power.
Okay.
I will go ahead.
All right, Mr. Nwuke, go ahead.
Now, I noticed that critically, my friend and colleague appears to be dodging the questions that you put before him and rather prefers to engage in an excursion that leads us nowhere. I am surprised that Mr. Benchoma is speaking more like a PDP person than an APC person. He is speaking not like a progressive who understands that the rule of law is critical in all matters. Now, it is shocking that this gentleman, who is also a lawyer,
that your leader, Senator Magnus Abe, was suspended alongside with several other people, including Livingston Nweche and several other people. They were suspended, they were declared suspended from the party for anti-party activities, and had recommended for the expulsion of Senator Magnus Abe and every other person who took part or took party to the court order that was taken to stop the revalidation exercise of the APC. Where does this leave your faction of the party? Because he's saying that you sound more PDP than a progressive.
Mary, the unfortunate situation of it.
The narrative properly. Golden, you know that the National Secretariat of Agri Party anointed Ogbubula and his colleagues as members of the caretaker committee. And that thereafter, Igwe Aguma went to court. I'm sure you know that. And that ruling threw up a major issue. The party's Secretariat of Agri Party has demolished those structures and set up a caretaker committee. You set an agenda. You want your voices heard, and that is right. And when a decision is taken, men who are law-abiding, men who are not non-conformists, we conform. Decisions cannot be taken on the basis of the conviction. That is why you have arbiters. And it is strange that you and your colleagues have brought us to this pass. That one thing is certain, the rule of law will prevail. And I'm very sure that what we seek out of the case that those men, your party men, your former party men that you are denying today, who are in court, is a pronouncement of the Supreme Court.
All right, gentlemen, we need to wrap up. Gentlemen, we need to wrap up.
No, but we want to hear from the Supreme Court.
All right.
Because the position has been taken by the Supreme Court that this subject cannot be demolished by any government.
If you can hear me, I have just a minute and I'm going to give you both 30 seconds each to speak. Where does the party go from here? Will there be any healing of sorts? Because, I mean, I do not know if a house divided against itself can actually stand, especially if you're going against the PDP, who's been in power for 8 straight years, and they're running a local government election, plus your party is divided on it. So going forward, what is the APC going to do? And I'm not talking about the APC in Rivers because you're already divided. What is the National Working Committee doing to deal with this crack in the party, to reconcile all factions? Because I don't know if expulsion is the way to go for the APC in Rivers State. I'll start with you, Mr. Choma, and then, of course, we'll wrap up Mr. Nwuke. 30 seconds each, gentlemen. Let's just keep to time.
Yes, the National Secretary should leave above board and call all members for genuine reconciliation. No one man should determine the fate of a multitude, and no one should conquer the other. We all belong to this party, and we have sacrificed our political growth for this party to grow. But let me end with this. APC will be on the ballot in the local government election. Thank you.
Mr. Nwuke.
Well, I'm amused because it's difficult to understand where the authority to present a list of candidates is emanating from. But let me say that as members of a party, we have been having conversations. I'm sure Mr. Golden Benchoma will agree. He was a member of a committee that I belong to, and we had conversations. And I believe that those conversations will continue, regardless of what may be an attempt to derail it. Now, we are offering a clear playing field for everyone. And that's what we should do, and not engage in power sharing, which is what these people want. But nonetheless, they are PDP in the night and APC in the day. And their position is becoming increasingly embarrassing and understood.
All right, gentlemen, we have to wrap things up. Thank you very much, Mr. Ogbonna Nwuke and, of course, Golden Benchoma, both of the APC in 2 different factions. Thank you very much for speaking with us on Plus Politics.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for staying with us. We'll take a short break now, and when we return, SERAP is in the news again, and this time it's asking the National Assembly to find the missing 4.4 billion naira. We'll talk about it when we come back after this break. Find out if the fund was misappropriated, diverted, or stolen. Now, joining us to discuss